Hey everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Couple. Today we've got some really inexpensive and simple DIY room decor projects using Dollar Tree items. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do that. We've got a ton of exciting and fun content this year. And if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments which project's your favorite.
For this project, I grabbed one of these really cute lights from Dollar Tree. They are very cute as is, but I thought I could take it to the next level by adding this basket. They come in a gold and a silver color, and then I'm going to be using this metal basket that you guys have probably seen a lot lately in a lot of our crafts and in a lot of your stores. Once I unpackaged it, it has these really cute fairy lights on the inside, and you can untwist the bulb as well. For the basket, you will need some wire cutters and just cut out the very middle section, and that's where the light bulb is going to go. Since we will be spray painting this, you do need to tape off the whole entire light bulb so that just the top part gets spray painted. You can take the light bulb completely out, but the fairy lights are left dangling, and I didn't want to have to duct tape them up or anything like that. So once it is all taped up, we are going to spray paint the basket and this light bulb the Krylon matte black spray paint. After they were spray painted, I was obsessed with how it was looking and I was so excited to get it assembled. So what I decided to do was use this hyper tough, it's a shelf holder thing. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, my husband knows exactly what it's called. But we grabbed this at Walmart. It was around $4 or $5 and I sanded it down slightly and grabbed my early American stain and stained the whole entire thing. That is what's going to hold the whole entire piece up. After you're done staining, it's time to assemble everything together. So what I did was take off all the tape and then take out the light bulb. We're going to pull all of the fairy lights out so that we can put the top onto the wire basket, flip it over, and put the light bulb back on. So this you will have to put a little bit of pressure to get it to twist back on, but it does twist back on and fits very nicely. What I decided to use to hang my light was these plant hangers from Dollar Tree. I thought it looked really nice with the wire of the basket, but you can also use rope or anything similar. What I did was grab one of the strands, and you will need to bend the little part up so that you can unhook everything. So the one at the very bottom, you will flatten out completely, and visually you can see it a lot better. So I'm flattening out the whole entire piece so that I can stick it through the hole at the top of the shelf holder so that it can hang. Then I just went quite a few down and undid the hooks so that I was left with just one long strand. Now that the piece is flat, you can go ahead and put it through the hole at the very top where it's going to hang, and then I just used a few tools to push it over, and then here in a little bit I will be using super glue to hold it down. And I know everyone is surprised. No, I am not using hot glue because it won't give a strong enough hold against what I need it for, and also it's too bulky. And then I grabbed the super glue that I talked about earlier and just went under the parts that are touching the wood and just held it there for as long as it needed to dry. Then I counted down however many little hooks I wanted it to go onto, so that's how high it's going to hang on the wall. And then you will undo the chain. You will need to undo the whole entire piece, hook it onto the actual loop on the light, and then hook it back onto the hooks. If you want to watch us make one very similar to this, at the very beginning of our channel, we made it with plungers and a lot of other weird items from Dollar Tree, so go ahead and click the link right here. This project, I'm starting out with this really unique vase that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just really loved the shapes that it had. I'm going to be spray painting it with the Satin Almond Krylon spray paint and also this kind of weird shaped vase as well, also from Dollar Tree. Once it was dry, I went in with this snow white paint. I believe I got this from Walmart. It's like 50 cents. And just to be honest, guys, this is where I do not do very well. So I tried to draw lines where the peaks are, and it was supposed to look really cute. I do a lot of trial and error, try to fix the lines. So basically, if you are really good at this stuff, this will turn out super cute. If you're like me though, maybe just spray paint it and leave it as is. As you can see, my lines came out kind of sloppy and just not exactly what I wanted for this project. So moving on to the next one, I am going to try this stencil that I got from Target in the Target dollar spot. And it was only $3 for these 4 stencils. I'm going to be using the stencil on the side, and not to ruin it for you guys, but this does end in a big failure as well. But don't worry, I will show you how to fix it just like I fixed mine. The stencil does work great. It is a really cute stencil. I love the design. It doesn't work around this circle pot. This is what it looked like after I did a little section of it. Really splotchy, a lot of bleeding. So what I did was I went in with a brush and just went over all of the lines again to make it look a lot stronger and hopefully not look as bad. Once I did that, I realized, oh, I could probably just do this freehand, so then I just started freehanding the rest. I would just freehand this design. It's just a bunch of lines. It's very fun, really cute, and I love how it gave a really simple but beautiful look to this vase. At this point, I was still cringing with how the lines looked. I didn't know if I wanted it to make the video or not, so I thought I would try one more thing. I went in and got the spray paint one more time and just sprayed it into this bowl until I had liquid at the bottom. And I'm going to be using a paintbrush to clean up all of my lines. This did work really, really well, but if you're just better at drawing lines in the first place, none of this would be an issue. Also, if you use just like a white paint marker, that probably would have made this project 10 times easier and it would have looked 10 times better.
For this project, we're going to be creating a really simple boho planter using this plastic bucket and these two rugs from Dollar Tree. The first thing that I'm going to do is cut off the ends so that we just have a flat edge, and then we're going to wrap this around the bucket using both of these rugs. So the first thing that I did was take one of the rugs, and then we're going to slide it down inside the bucket until we get to this white line here, and that's going to go along the top edge of the bucket, and then that will actually go all the way down to the bottom of the bucket. So it creates a really even layout for your planter here, and then it will cover the whole thing as well. Also, by sticking it down in, it'll cover up some of that pink on the inside of the bucket so that you don't see that. So the first thing that I did here was start at the bottom, and I'm just gluing this corner down using some hot glue. Once we have that bottom corner glued, I'm just going to work my way around and kind of pulling this to keep it tight and gluing it all the way around the bottom edge of this bucket until I get to the other corner. Now, because the bottom of the bucket is a little bit smaller than the top, this won't fit absolutely perfect. It does start to angle up, as you can see here. But what we want to do now is glue this edge down and pull it as much as we can to try and even that out. So pull it, glue it a little bit there, and then as we get to the top, we want to stretch that even more so that we're creating these horizontal lines instead of having them angle up towards the top. Ultimately, if it's not perfect, that's okay, because we will add this other mat to try and even those out a little bit. Now, since we don't need as much, I am going to cut in a little bit more here, and you may have to make some adjustments. You don't want it to be too big wrapping around to the front of this. We want to try and keep this towards the back. So cut off a little bit more, and then we're just going to do the same thing. Slide this down inside the bucket and then align that white part at the very top. Now, if it looks like this a little bit off, then what you need to do is just take it out and flip it because you put it in the wrong way. So I had to actually just take it out and then flip it the other way, and then it should line up just perfect. And then again, what I'm doing is just gluing it right at the top here. The main thing that you want to do here is focus on getting these lines to match up. So you're getting the black part and then the white part. That way, when you look at it from the side, it looks pretty good. The last thing that you want is for these to not line up, and then it just doesn't look as clean in the end. Now you can see if I pull this tight, this one angles really far up. So what we want to do is pull it, and then we're going to actually cut it on an angle now so that we can try and straighten this out a little bit. And then what we're going to do here is, again, just try and pull it and straighten it out so that those lines match up. So originally I was trying to keep it towards the back so you didn't see it, but I kind of like the fringe that almost has like you have tassels on the side here. I thought it was kind of cool. So what I would do is, if you're wanting that look, I would actually just try and keep it half and half, so that if you do the fringe on the side, you're splitting the bucket directly in half, because the way I did it, it ended up more towards the back. I didn't like that as much, but I do like the look. I think it adds a little bit more style, especially if you're going for the boho look. So what I would recommend is cutting your rugs so that when you lay them down and you have this fringe part here, you have one of that on one side of the bucket, and then you have the other on the other half, so that if you're looking at the bucket straight on, you can see on both sides. And I think it would look really pretty that way. Mine was just a little bit too far towards the back, but I do like that style on there. Once we have everything wrapped, we can move on to adding our plants, and I'm using a couple that I got from Michael's, 70% off. So a lot of stuff that we can get from Dollar Tree or Walmart, maybe online, at good prices, and it's going to look good. One thing I would recommend though, for plants, get the nicer plants when they're on sale, or you can get a good deal, because it will make your projects look a lot better in the end.
For this project, I'm going to be using these skewers from Dollar Tree. I originally wanted to use the extra long skewers, but I couldn't find any at my local store. So I guess we have to wait just a few more weeks or even months for that. But I just grabbed a bunch of them. I've used this pack a lot of times, so I don't know exactly how many I grabbed. But then I used wire cutters and just cut all of the tips off of each of them. When that was done, I lined them all up, and I grabbed a pencil and just started drawing random lines where I was going to cut. Then again, with the wire cutters, I just cut on each of the pieces, and I did keep them in order so that when we put it back together, it's super easy. Now that we have all our pieces, it's going to kind of look like a disaster. And if you've watched other people's videos and they did it way easier, it's because I haven't not watched anyone do this before, and I always choose the hardest way to do something. So I'll make sure the one side is completely even, and then I grabbed a piece of tape just so that they all stayed in the same line so that I could go in with this stain. Once again, I'm using the Early American stain. We get it from Walmart. We love it. We use it for everything, as you guys know. Then it was time to flip it over, which was extremely scary, but I ended up getting it all the way over and only losing one. So I placed that back, I believe, in the right place, and then I stained the whole back, which ended up being the front in the end. I decided to glue them all onto a piece of foam board. I just cut a random square of foam board and then I will cut it down later. So I'm just going to place it on top and then I will be grabbing each piece one by one and hot gluing it in order. This is a tedious process, but I think it came out really cute. I think it would look a little bit better if you used the extra long skewers that Dollar Tree carries. But like I said, I went in and I just grabbed one by one in order and hot glued them all a line at the top so that it was completely even. When I finished the top row, I decided I wanted to cut the side just so that it was easier to maneuver. You can do this before or after it's finished, it doesn't matter too much. I just set up this ruler to kind of know where to cut in a straight line, and I took my razor and went across the side, and then I went right next to the wood and cut all of the foam board off. And then all you have to do is add the bottom section. So it's easiest to add a dot at the top and a dot at the bottom on the actual stick and then place it where it needs to go. This should be a breeze since you have all your pieces in line. If you didn't do that though, you're going to have a very interesting puzzle to figure out. When that was done, my ends were a mess. Also, you probably can just do a full length skewer after you've done the variant on the one side where you've cut them, but I wanted to not waste so many skewers on this project. So I cut off the foam board on the back, and then I'm going to be grabbing the wire cutters and cutting across the whole entire bottom to give it a straight line.
Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more Dollar Tree DIYs, make sure to click through to our playlist right here, and you can check out all of the other amazing projects that we've done using Dollar Tree items. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.